There I was, standing in front of my 92 Nissan Stanza with all of my belongings packed inside of my car. My grandmother, she wanted to take one last photo before we hit the road. So she asked us to come in the back of the car because if you looked in the rearview mirror, you could see all my things smushed up against that rearview mirror. We took the photo, I said my goodbyes to my grandmother, and then we hit the road. I started to get a little sad after a while. And my boyfriend said, "It was really cool how your grandma said she wanted to get one last photo of us before we left." I knew my grandmother did not have but one reason for that photo. And that was she was getting the car, the license plate, and a physical description of the man I was leaving with in case something happened to me. I knew I was going to be missed. When I first told my family I was moving to Arizona, they didn't quite understand. To them, Phoenix was this hot, dry desert with no Black people in it. And there was some truth to that. But when I came out to visit, I just noticed how beautiful the mountains were. And there was a peace and a quiet and a calm that I really thought I could create a life for myself where I could be independent and I can flourish. However, leaving Oakland, California, a place steeped in Black culture and community, to come to Phoenix in the 90s required some sacrifice on my part. I think I had been out here not long, and my mother came to see me for a visit. After a few days, my mother asked me, "Where are all the Black people?" And I told her that she would see them on Sunday when we went to church. After my mother caught her flight back home, her question stayed with me because Monday through Saturday, there was a gap. And if I'm being honest, I felt the loneliness of that gap, finding my way on my own. See, I had never lived more than 30 miles from the high school I graduated from. I was friends with people that I had known since I was this big. I was from a big family who were always doing things together. I had a sense of belonging. I knew every place I could go to get my hair done, no matter how I wanted it done. I knew all the places that I could go for the best barbecue. I know exactly where the spot was to get the catfish or some wonderful peach cobbler. And I also knew where to go to meet people and mix it up and mingle. All those things that the locals take for granted. In Phoenix, I had to seek those things out. And I had friends that I met through school or from work, but it was very different. And I always still felt like there was a little something missing. And so sometimes I would just fly back home, go back to California, or I would go visit some friends in Chicago or Atlanta. And I would get there and I would soak in that culture where people looked like me and talked like me and understood what I was saying and where I was coming from. And then I would get on a plane and go back to Phoenix and keep building the bricks of my life in Arizona. And there were times where I wished that it didn't take all that. I wish that I wasn't the only person who was at my job on my floor who looked like me. I remember one time I was riding around town with a coworker who was white, and we were in a golf cart, no less, in downtown Phoenix. We were heading over to another facility of our job, getting some materials, when we see this Black man who was standing on the street in a suit. And he sees us, and he stops, and he looks, and he smiles. And I smile, and I wave. And my coworker said, "Do you know him? That guy looked at you like he knew you." And I said, "No, I actually don't know him personally, but he's acknowledging that he sees me. He's acknowledging my presence because he knows that it's probably been days since one of us have seen someone who looks like us. And we're not taking for granted that you're just gonna bump into somebody who's like you or looks like you or understands where you're coming from every single day on the streets of downtown Phoenix." So, no, I don't know him personally. There were times where I didn't feel that, where I was like, when was the last time when I felt like I had been seen? And there was a struggle there, where sometimes it was just me at home with the popcorn and a glass of red wine, missing home, missing family, missing belonging. One year, I decided to go to a Juneteenth festival, and I got really excited because I knew I was going to be seeing new people and get a chance to meet new people. And I was really surprised at the turnout. And I wondered to myself, where is everyone? Like, is this normal? In the Bay Area, an event like that, the crowd would be so thick, you wouldn't even be able to see through it. After that, I decided I needed to be more intentional. So I joined the employee resource group at work. I got on the planning committee for our Black Heritage Celebration, which was this big event they did every single year. And I started to meet people. I met people from different parts of the organization, people from different generations, people who started to teach me and educate me on the Black history that actually did exist in Phoenix. And I started to meet different people and learn about nonprofit organizations, and I started to volunteer with them. I started to make friends with community organizers. I started to get mentored by community leaders. I started to find myself giving back to students who were coming behind me. And I even became a regular every Saturday morning at East Lake Park, taking African dance classes from Kawambe. Pieces of the community that I belonged to started to surface and become clear to me. A few weeks ago, a good friend of mine invited me to a woman's prayer breakfast. This was hosted by the same church I had taken my mother to 20 years ago. The color was purple, and the theme was sisterhood. I get to the hotel, and everywhere I'm starting to see women in different shades of purple. And they are dressed to the nines, the older women with their hats. All of the outfits were fierce. And as I'm going up into the elevator, getting to that ballroom, there are this huge display of letters that spell out sisters. It's lit with light from the bottom. Women are taking pictures. It's like a fashion show. It is amazing. I am seeing women that I haven't seen in a long time. I'm greeting people. People are greeting me. Strangers are hugging me like they know me with this familiar warmth. From the front of the room to the back of the room, I can see myself reflected everywhere. And I'm reveling in this diversity because the beauty of it, it was just breathtaking. After the prayer breakfast, I'm walking back to my car, and I'm just soaking in all that Black girl magic, all that joy that I had just seen. And I know that come Monday, I may only see a handful of them. But I do know at this point that we will be walking in community together. Thank you.